G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a pipe carbine, a weapon that can be best described as an unholy union between a pipe gun and a service rifle, and the ejector port is all the way back there for some reason, which I don't know how that's going to work, but let's not think about it that too much. So this is a pipe gun, but in service rifle form. The concept, I think, is pretty good. If you're going to build some makeshift junk weapons, you may as well make them look cool like the AR-15s, and sorry if you're a California, I just swore, but yeah, that's just what it looks like. Now, this thing uses pipe gun textures. I've got a retexture replacer for the pipe gun, so normally this thing would look all of the grey, rusty, coppery colors that you'd see the pipe guns of the vanilla game, but with this retexture, it makes it look a little bit cleaner, although you've still got some copper in the barrel there just at the end. But there's a few customization options for this. Does require the munitions mod to operate. Uses these 223 rounds, which are very similar to the dimensions of the US NATO 5.56. There is a round conversion to make this thing actually fire 5.56s, so you don't have to rely on this ammo source that is potentially scarce because it's not installed by the vanilla game. More plug and play if you've got this thing. If you've just installed munitions and don't have the ammunition like me, just switch this over to a 5.56. You will get a little bit of extra damage, but we'll go over that in the attachments. Let's get into it. First of all, we've got the receivers, and we can go powerful auto receiver, also an option for an advanced receiver somewhere, maybe just a powerful receiver. I'm not seeing anything advanced, which is interesting. Maybe that's because it's taking the same sort of modifications from a pipe gun, and I think the advanced receiver in the vanilla game for pipe guns is the 45 caliber conversion, so there's none of that here. The strongest semi-auto is this powerful receiver, which is, I think, a little bit of a misstep there. They could have done a little bit better for your semi-auto receivers, but yeah, 111 damage isn't too bad, all things considered. So 93 damage for the powerful auto receiver, and you can change the barrel. It's got different bits and on it. This one looks kind of cool. Recoil compensating barrel. Wonder how it accomplishes that. Has it got some sort of porting to help the recoil, the gas escape, to not throw the weapon out too much? Not really sure. This assault barrel looks kind of cool though. Next, we've got barrels with plenty of flavor to go along with each. That's a shorter barrel, better hipfire accuracy. This one's slightly longer, better recoil and extended range. That's pretty good. A heavy barrel gives you like almost like a machine gun setup there. You can just see a couple of the vanilla assets repurposed there, but working out pretty well. So 227 range and a little bit of extra accuracy is pretty good. This one is going to help you control recoil somehow, and the marksman barrel appears to be some sort of sniper type of barrel for this thing, complete with a, is that like a bipod stand thing there? It might be, you know, but yeah, that's interesting. Actually, you can see the bipod just folded there. I just thought it was like bits of scrap metal as a counterweight to the front, but yeah, it's quite an interesting piece of work, I think. But I'll go for the, not the assault barrel, the heavy barrel, the one with the foregrip and the screwdriver there for the carry handle. I think that's cute. There's also a bipod on the front of that as well. And you can change the stock. It's a pistol grip right now, also referred to as a pistol. You still hold this in two hands like normal, but there's options for full stocks, light versions, heavy versions. That's a proper machine gunning stock right there. There's so many places to hold this thing. When you've installed the heavy stock on that, you've got the foregrip, the pistol grip itself for that grip there, and even that little carry handle. So pick where you want. Also this one, which is kind of getting towards futuristic looking if it wasn't made out of junk. This recoil compensating one I feel like is pretty sharp as well. So we'll throw that one on. That looks probably the cleanest, except for the pistol grip itself there, but we'll move on from that. Next, we've got the magazine, and just like your pipe guns, you can throw a big drum magazine or a coffin mag if you feel like it. The drum magazine gives you a lot of ammos in your capacity of your rifles, so why not, eh? And it looks like it's canted off to the side there to prevent potential clipping in the third-person animations, so that's some good attention to detail there. Next, we've got the sights. So right now, we've got the standard carry handle iron sights, which will line up to a little front post there, which I believe is just a nail sticking out of the top there. So yeah, we're going into survivalist rifle areas of weapon design when it comes to this. So there's also an option to remove that for just standard cut versions. There's also reflex sights. Surprise, surprise, you've got a pipe gun reflex sight there, complete with the two prongs in the middle, which are painted in some sort of radioactive isotope to make it glow, should you choose that version. Also options for a couple of scopes, recon night vision scopes. There's also longer versions as well if you want to snipe with this thing, but I feel like we'll just go for a glow reflex sight on this thing, on this monstrosity. Next, we've got the muzzles, and we can have a small bayonet, which is just a pointy bit of metal on the end. Triangular bayonet, which stabs people with 3 screws at once. I feel like this would be more effective as a bayonet, but what have you. Next, we've got a compensator, which is pretty normal looking, all things considered, considering the norm of this weapon itself. And this muzzle brake here, which adds a cheese grater, because that'll definitely work, don't worry about it. And of course, you've got the oil filter suppressor, which looks like that, with, yes, another place where you could potentially hold on to this thing. So why not? We'll throw that one on, and we'll go over to our legendary effects. This is provided by legendary modification, so we generally ignore that. And lastly, we can rechamber this thing from the munitions base 223 to a 556 from the vanilla game, and you'll get a little bit of damage boost for your troubles. 124 is actually the exact same damage for a suppressed powerful auto assault rifle in this game, and I'll tell you, the assault rifle is a lot prettier than this thing. My goodness. There is a unique version of the pipe carbine that is located in the settlement called Murkwater Construction Site. If this is the first time you're visiting this place, just beware of a Mirelurk Queen floating around. But all you need to do is go to the workshop bench and find the safety violation right next to it. Wounds enemies with 25 points of bleed damage. That's cool, the wounding legendary effect for hazardous environment flavor. Also a to-do list. To-do list, choose name, safety violation, question mark, coffin nailer, Carpenter's Brute, get more nails, never mind, not Hardware Town, Concord, question mark, fixed motor, battery burns out too fast, not good, pay off debt to Brobov, buy more vodka from Brobov, show everyone you're the best goddamn tinker this side of Nuka World. Ah, so I suppose its thing is it shoots nails then. Ah, yep, shoots nails. It's a nail gun on the front of that thing. Well, finding this at a construction site, I feel like is, yep, that makes sense. It's a nail gun attached to a pipe AR-15, and sorry if you're from California, I just swore, but you get what I mean. The pipe carbine is injected onto the level list. It'll start showing up post level 8. Anywhere where you'll find a pipe gun, you'll find a pipe carbine. Here at Claire's, she's got one, and for fairly cheap as well, considering. So, yeah, not too bad for a 5.56 weapon. I mean, you're not going to see the rounds until you're a little bit later on in your levels, but you can get them from Claire's if you ever want to. And just to give you an idea of how the pipe gun retexture changes things, that's what a regular pipe gun looks like with that retexture. So yeah, it looks a lot cleaner. With all that rust off of it, makes it look like half a weapon at least. And we're back at Immersive Gunners Plaza. Here is our pipe carbine in first person. Looks about as pretty in first person as it does in third person, and yeah, even Kira looks disgusted by it. This is not the weapon that she'd like to be seen with, I don't think. Anyway, so when you aim down sights, this is what it looks like with the reflex glow sights there. So it's a 3-prong setup instead of 2, so I guess that'll give you some idea of where that shot's going to go. But there's our first one that we made on the workbench. We've also got this one, which has got the sniper status thing about it. And if you aim down the scope, this one's got a medium scope, by the way. You don't have to see the weapon. You don't have to look at the weapon. So that's a pretty big plus, I think. Next, we've got the nail gun version. It uses the same sounds as a syringer. You also notice, if you're eagle-eyed enough, that these are not hit-scan projectiles. Maybe they're silent, but honestly, nail guns aren't silent in real life. In fact, quite the opposite, and they're not fatal if you get shot by one. I've shot myself through the finger before for the nail gun, and I'm still here, and that's a lot of gunners over there. And if you're wondering about what the iron sights look like, there they go. Also, for some reason, this version has a faster strafe speed when you aim down sights, which means you can turbo sneak. When you're aiming down sights, of course. It goes back to normal if you're not aiming down sights. And lastly, I've got a sniper status version, just using a short scope without a suppressor. But we've already heard the sounds before. It's just standard pipe gun sounds and whatnot, so it's going to be a pretty familiar sounding weapon. But how does it do for performance? Well, let's find out. And first of all, we've got a bunch of gunners over there, so we'll start throwing some rounds down range. Keep in mind that we are firing 5.56 rounds and not the 38 rounds that the pipe guns would usually fire, so I mean, so far so good. I think we'll go over to our scoped version here and just start pinging them from a longer distance. Good thing about using an actual vanilla game scopey scope is that you get sniper knockdowns. Very good. So if something's a little bit too tough, you can easily coast to them. I thought I knocked that guy down. He quickly got up from behind the tree. And if we want to slow down the tempo a little bit here, we can get ourselves some easy, cheap little headshots on these guys just to make it work a little bit faster. Even add some criticals to the mix, why not? Should be getting full crits now, thanks to gun through. Yep. So, looks be deceiving on this thing because it is a pretty powerful weapon, and it sucks that I cancelled out of VATS there, but I must have ran out of AP. But so far, so good. We've actually quite decimated that first assault of gunners, and now we can sort of maybe cruise home at this point. But hey, I broke both of their legs somehow. That's good news. Not for her. For me, of course, but there's very little recoil when it comes to using this thing. I think maybe the damage output being that of the assault rifle is going to make it... I don't know if it's going to be firing faster. I don't think there's much difference here. But there is a lot of killing, shooting, and hitting that I have to do to actually drop these guys. That being said, with the very little recoil, sometimes you can just aim for the head and generally be fairly successful in that caliber. Provided your enemies don't sort of dance around in the... And as they get staggered, you can be fairly accurate with that. Well, head giblets went bloody everywhere. That is a classic Fallout bloody mess death right there. Anyways, I think it's time for me to use the nail gun. Why not? Nailed her. As expected, not as effective as your bullet shootings, and the magazine is where it stores the nails, apparently. I don't even know what kind of feeding system that this thing has, but... Also, what's powering it? Is it gas? Is there a battery inside the magazine that's making... I'm not really sure what's going on there. Killed that guy with bleeding damage. The bleeding damage is icing on the cake here. You could use it to cover your reloads, I suppose, but... Unless you're getting a whole lot of that damage with the bullets. I mean, the bleed damage is good, but there are obviously better options for bleeding, but in a pinch, I suppose, you could probably get away with this thing, but I'm seeing this more as like a little bit of a gimmick on top of the weapon mod that's already here. It's a cool little wastelandy tinkerer sort of flavor bit, but it doesn't really offer you much in performance. At least at an end game level, killing like little baby gunners with it, I don't think you can go too wrong with that. Wonder if I can get crits if I just shoot it. Yeah, that did work. Okay, so if you're using the slow motion VATS and you got gun through, we can literally just you shoot the guy, shoot one shot into 3 guys, and then your 4th shot will be all critical, so that might be something you could exploit in combat to get more damage than what you ought. But anyways, now we're using Junk Sight's version with faster strafe speed. It's like a Call of Duty sort of strafe speed about it. This thing should be fairly good on AP. It does have a shorter barrel. The iron sight's not helping us as much, but boy, none of that. It set me on fire. Not cool. You could optimize this further for VATS if I used a reflex sight, but you know, the dude who kept complaining that I am not ever using iron sight hasn't piped up in a while, so either he's not watching or I'm doing something right. So things have, well, we're kind of cruising here. We don't have to be too worried about our enemies. I think we've actually hit nerd rage at the moment, so maybe this would be a cool time to do a little bit of a door breach. Hit in slow motion. Extra damage courtesy of Nerd Rage and Destroyer of Acadia there. Did a pretty good job at clearing out those gunners. And there you go. The Pipe Carbine against Immersive Gunners Plaza. And honestly, that was a pretty cruisy run there. Granted, we did kill a lot at first due to gratuitous sneak critting, but that's okay. It's done its job well, and any sort of commando-based weapon with a with the I forgot I made it look like that. Really disgusted. Doesn't like to look at it at all. But you can sleep well tonight because if you unequip the weapon, it doesn't work with classic holstered weapons. So you won't actually wear this thing as a point of apparel. So you can sheath the holster of the weapon, and no one will see it. See, feeling better already. Alright, now we'll take on the Swan. Doesn't look like he's got any friends with him today, which is good news for me. There's an immediate sniper knockdown, and that's what we're going for on the mighty Swan on this day. So if we want to shoot him in the head, if he does get knocked down and just ends up falling through the earth, then I'm going to call that a win, and we'll move on. So there he goes, a nice little pirouette there. And now we can keep on shooting at him, and we can observe exactly when he gets his little bit of slight immunity. He gets some iframes that he's going through his getting up animation sometimes. Okay, we're in caution. There's a feral ghoul that's shown up. Sorted him out, and we're back into sneak critting. And there's your iframes right there. So, you know, that's a thing that persists even to this day. And other applications, Scorch Beasts usually get those when they're flying by. Although that might just be a coincidence that they're the same. I think that might be netcode issues in Fallout 76. Anyways, job done there. And yet another crazy run. So, yeah, despite this thing looking like a dog's breakfast, it's actually performing like one of the, stronger weapons. And keep in mind, this is like a level 8. Oh, look, it's on my back. Why is it that one? That one's alright too. Okay, so apparently the nail gun no-go. The first couple that I made, it's not the suppressor that's doing it, but some of them you can wear, and yep, looks about as disgusted as ever. Fine, we'll equip that one. Alright, so I think the next thing we'll do is go for a full stealth commando run on the Wendigo there, who has just finished off all of his friends over in the insect pit over there, and so far so good. Looks like the sneak criticals have run out, so no point in using this one anymore. Let's go over to this neglected one with the short scope that I didn't use. Going for a sniper knockdown here. Oh, perfect. That is a proper Team Rocket is blasting off again. Type deal there, and I think, have we thrown him off the map, or is he still tumbling to the ocean? He flew, and he gets knocked straight down again. Just gotta keep him at bay there. See, with the rate of fire this thing sports and its magazine capacity, the ability just to stop enemies in their tracks just like that is pretty massive. And you know what we'll do? We'll hit him up with the nail gun as he gets all of those iframes at the most inopportune moment. And missed. Hit me that time. But Nerd Rage, 316 damage from the headshots and a timely stagger there. I might just jump over something so he can't get me. I might just be able, unless that was the mysterious stranger doing that damage. It may have been, you know, but it was a timely drop for him to go, and apparently I can eat that corpse. I forget sometimes to remove the cannibal perks, but look, do you think a sophisticated operator who does her hair like that every day is going to be a cannibal? No. Alright, so for the last fight, I want to kill the Radroach Roachzilla with the nail gun. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, the fact that I'm only getting one hit of the nails that I'm throwing at it per burst is pretty bad, but that bleed damage, it's not stacking very well. Oh, we've got a bit of fire support at the bare minimum. Thanks, Winter. I think I recently reprogrammed her. She helps allies now, and I am an ally. She's going to pretty much steal the kill from me. Although, now that I come to think of it, now I can't fight this guy unless I delete Winter every time I try to solo this thing. But yeah, the damage here, I think it's not going very well. Oh, he might actually eat Winter right now. That's not a good thing. So can you stop that? I suppose the other element here is protecting Winter as she does a stand back. Okay, that's it. And now I am in trouble. Wait, no, she gets straight back up because officially she's not a follower, but she just got one shot by him, so there's that. It's gonna keep chipping away at his health, and eventually he'll go down. I gotta make sure I don't shoot Winter here because she'll turn on me and start shooting at me instead. If we get plenty of staggers on this guy, that'll do pretty well. Okay, he's jumped right over. That's good news. I'll go for the torso, add a critical to the mix, and make sure these shots actually hit. So without all of the extra sneak critical, like, there's very limited utility in the nail gun version other than, hey, this is cool, look at this thing. And no, none of that. Hey, he pushed me onto a skeleton, which sort of launched me a couple of meters behind, so thanks. But unfortunately, Winter's here to save me, so I'm just gonna, like, I don't know, try to lure him this way. I think she did most of the work there. And again, Winter, that's not the Institute. That's a rad roach. She was carrying VATS Enhanced 10mm auto pistol. There you go. Anyway, so I think you get the idea. So that there was the pipe carbine. An interesting weapon, and I think we've learned something here, haven't we? Yes, we have. Looks can be deceiving. Just because it looks like a piece of junk and garbage doesn't mean it is, Kira. So maybe next time, don't judge a book by its cover. Anyway, so if you liked this weapon in your game, check out the link in the description. There is definitely an Xbox port on this one, so if you want to see this in Xbox as well, it's there's an option to download that for there. And also, did I mention these are RU556 animations? I don't think the mod author does, but you know, we've seen these animations 100 times before. But you know, you can't go 5 meters on the Nexus mods without tripping over an AR-15 mod. So you know, if the animation works, then it's not a criticism that it's using it. But anyways, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching.